Hello, Mark Dietel here with Mark Dietel Realty, and I got a really good question for you today that I'm going to answer as best I can in the amount of time we have here on this video. But my question is, who actually pays the buyer agent commission? That's a big question right now that's going on in our industry. And if you haven't heard about some of the larger trials and things that are going on in our marketplace, that's okay. You may be hearing some of those things here shortly in the national news. But I just want to make sure I'm clear and that you understand what are the two key contracts our clients sign when it comes to their residential real estate needs. Number one is the listing contract, and obviously that's for sellers. Number two is the buyer agency contract, and that's for a buyer who's looking to buy a home. So let's talk quickly first about the listing contract. And remember, I'm talking specifically right now about the commission. So we're not going to get into some of the other details as it relates to these total contracts, these total agreements. But when a seller meets with an agent and the agent quotes the seller a commission amount, that almost always here in Indiana includes the buyer agent commission and the listing commission. So you might ask, why am I, the seller, paying for the buyer's representation to actually negotiate against me? And it's because of what we call the clear cooperation rule. And that's according to the National Association of Realtors and also according to the Indiana Association of Realtors. And in order to give fair representation, the listing agent collects that fee and makes sure that fee gets paid at closing to the buyer agent. So that's the way the market is set up. And you do need to know that that buyer agent commission that the seller pays, which is a part of their overall listing commission, is negotiable. So if any agent talks to you like, hey, there's a certain percent that's supposed to be passed along to the buyer agent, that is not the case. So it's totally negotiable, and remember that when you're looking over your costs and your fees. Number two, the buyer agency contract. That is the professional legal agreement between a buyer agent and their client, the buyer. And what that buyer agency contract says is whatever buyer agent commission is being passed on by the seller, they'll use that amount to deduct whatever that buyer agent commission is in their buyer agency agreement. So usually the buyer agent accepts whatever buyer agent commission is passed along on the MLS or by the listing agent. But sometimes that's not the case, so just be aware when you do sign that buyer agency contract, the nuances of that, and you know exactly what you're paying. So those are two really, really big contracts that you want to pay attention to. I always highly recommend you get your own representation. It's not unusual. I'll get a call from a friend or a past client and they'll say, hey, can you help somebody? They called the listing agent to see if they could get this house, and now they're working with the listing agent, the buyer is, and that listing agent at the same time is working for the seller. That's called limited agency agreement. It is legal in the state of Indiana at the present time, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that somebody doesn't go down that path. So with that said, those are two really important contracts. If you have more questions related to your real estate needs, or you have any specific questions about the nuances of these two agreements, please check us out, markdietel.com. You can get my phone number on there. You can get my email address or any of our other professional agents who stand ready to help you at any time. Thank you very much.